Yo, what is up everyone? Back here with another video. Today is going to be a video where we review the VR Top Cut teams. This is the biggest Pokemon tournament that has taken place so far in VGC, for Series 12 specifically. I think it's second biggest actually comparatively to Champions Cup, which was a 1,000-player tournament. But this is like the second biggest one we've ever had in VGC, so pretty big tournament. Unfortunately, I got kind of wiped out early. Kind of had just a unlucky runish, you know, like a kind of unlucky run, but you know, stuff like that happens, so it's not like that big of a deal, you know, like it happens. But there were a lot of really cool teams here, and I was like living through my friends kind of this tournament, specifically Maddie. So Maddie, I straight gave him like a team I had made. It's up on the Patreon now. I waited to upload it until what's it called, he was done with the tournament. But pretty much like he killed it with his team. I was really rooting for him. He ended up getting top 16 or like, you know, top 16, but he went 8-1 in Swiss. Like I was super happy to see him do well, especially with the team, you know, because you're always a little biased towards the team you make. And then I saw some other friends do well too. North, who got top 4, and Jones. So it was pretty cool to see like some friends make it far, you know. I was like telling them like Calyrex Shadow, Groudon's busted. Then they built like this crazy team and like did super well. So it was super cool to see that. But yeah, no, it was overall a really cool tournament. But we're gonna go down through them one by one. I'll kind of give my thoughts on each team. Obviously, the team that ended up winning was the Palkia team. I'm gonna actually find that right now. It was Jesus. We're gonna scroll down. I actually have the link to this tweet right here. Yeah. Oh, not this. I gotta find Jesus's. Let me look. Jesus. There we go. Right here, yeah, so he ended up, what's it called, doing really well. This was the top 8 of the tournament. We pretty much had North, who I mentioned got top 4. Hiroto, who was the only Zacian Groudon that really placed well. We have Swordfish over here, Paul. Paul was actually doing really well in the finals. I think he kind of threw away his win game 1. And then game 2, he just ended up losing. Jesus just kind of outperformed him a little bit in a couple turns. Then we had Lapras Zacian, which was kind of interesting. We had another Swordfish, a Palkia, and a, you know, obviously Zacian, which took it all. Solgaleo, and then Zacian Yveltal. So one thing to note is actually the most popular Yveltal team in this tournament actually seemed to be Zacian Yveltal. And that's actually what did the best in this whole tournament. Swordfish also popped up twice. We've kind of seen Swordfish consistently cut. A lot of these teams have Zacian, obviously, or like some kind of Steel type. North's team was the only one that didn't have a Steel type on it, actually. All the other teams had at least one Steel on it, with some choosing to like double up on the Steel type. So it's really interesting to see. So I think that it's kind of indicative of like what's strong right now. I mean, the field was a lot of Kyogre. There was a lot of Kyogre playing. So seeing like Palkia do so well doesn't particularly surprise me, because like it was just a really strong like kind of composition overall, right? And then on top of that, like you saw like there was other stuff like Amoonguss as well. So it's kind of able to really kind of like remove the pressure of stuff like Kyogre. So kind of makes sense, you know. But yeah, I mean that's mainly it in terms of like the overall, I guess, what's it called, teams in top 8. Like my idea, like I think it makes a lot of sense that this team won, honestly. So now we're gonna go over to the actual pace. I'm gonna look through all of them one by one and just kind of talk about them really quickly. So first off, we have the team that got number 1 in Swiss. It's actually a really interesting team with Seismitoad being able to utilize the Power Whip. Also using Bounce as well. Pretty much able to exert a lot of pressure with the Swordfish combination. I've been seeing a lot of Seismitoad and like Zacian Ogre, so it's kind of cool to see it like consistently performing well. Zapdos turned up really big this tournament as well. And I think it was a really big deal. I'm also going to only look through the teams that I find the most interesting out of the bunch, or the ones that I think are like really, really solid. And then we'll kind of work from there. This team I thought was really cool. It actually had Zacian and Rayquaza. By the way, guys, I'm going to link all of these, what's it called? I'm going to link these teams down in the description, and I'm going to link the actual Twitter for VGC Pace in the description as well. Just so you guys know, so you can check it out. But yeah, no, this team was cool too. It was utilizing the Rayquaza and the Zacian combination, so that was kind of cool to see it do really well. You know, also too, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like offensive Aleki on this team, offensive Gastrodon, which I think is really cool. I was kind of curious to see no Yawn, because I feel like Yawn's like a really good option, but yeah, no, it was really interesting to see. Okay, going down here, we see Paul Ruiz, who ended up getting second place. He was using a really cool team, too. His team was very, very offensive. It was very centered around dealing a bunch of damage with the Kyogre and the Zacian. Also having Zapdos as a Dynamax option. So it's kind of cool to see. The Ferrothorn didn't come. I think the Ferrothorn would have been probably really good for Paul in some matchups. And the Whimsicott set actually was really good, too. Mostly because the Taunt Whimsicott was able to shut down Support Thundurus, which actually popped up quite a bit in Paul's run. So it was really cool to see him utilize Taunt and kind of like stop a lot of people from like being able to use the turns they want. Helping Hand also kind of covers if you get faked out on your Whimsicott, because you can just Helping Hand your partner slot and just go for a bunch of damage, and obviously they can't stop it, so that's nice as well. Continuing down here, nothing I was too interested in yet. Lunadon obviously from Maddie. There'll be a video on this tomorrow. I'm probably gonna have Maddie on to discuss the team. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. That should be fun. It's also up on the Patreon already, so make sure to check that out too if you guys would like to get access to this team early and all the sets. But it'll be up on the YouTube soon. Then down here, we have what's it called? A couple more teams. We have Kyogre and what's it called? Glastrier, not Glastrier. Wow, I forgot Calyrex for a second. Calyrex seems fine. I mean, pretty standard build, I'd say. Continuing down, Professor Ragna with this core. It seems like Yveltal and Zacian did really well this tournament as well. There were a lot of teams with Yveltal Zacian in this entire tournament, so kind of not surprising to see. North's team was really interesting. Both him and what's it called, Jones actually did really well with it, or NJ. They had built this like literally like in our server like literally a couple days ago. So it was or like right before the tournament, basically the day before. So it was really interesting. The leftovers, Yawn, Protect Gastrodon. Normally I slander it pretty hard, but on this team I respect it. I think it actually made a lot of sense. This team was definitely very good at like slowing down the opponent and kind of taking advantage of the Charizard to deal a bunch of damage, along with like Groudon being able to deal some damage. So it's super cool. I really like the team as a whole. Continuing down, I thought this one was interesting. I don't think it ended up doing that great, but seeing like Xerneas do well was really cool. It was a pretty offensive team, mostly centered around kind of leveraging your Xerneas and leveraging your Regieleki. That being said, not really that big of a deal, you know. Then we have my stars here, you know. Pretty standard, what's it called? Or not standard, but like, I mean, usually these Kyogre teams with like other restricteds kind of have like a Seismitoad on it, so kind of cool. Ferrothorn, obviously, like, really good with Kyogre as well, so not too surprising to see that. We actually had, Bingji, who got, what's it called, you know, who did well with it too, ended up cutting with Palkia and Zacian, which is kind of cool. Different pairs, different partners, but, like, you know, still kind of the same general idea. Jude Lead, the Colossal Warrior, using Colossal once more. Nothing too surprising there. Pretty standard 6, I'd say. And then continuing down, you know, Tabu actually did pretty well, as well. You know, able to kind of really just do super well with this team and kind of pilot it to doing really well. I think he got top 8 with it, and then got taken out. Yuya ended up using the Swordfish Tornadus composition. This one's really interesting because I feel like it literally has no way to break Ferrothorn besides like Sacred Sword Zacian. So kind of interesting to see this double grass composition. I guess you have Sacred Sword on both Zacian and Kartana, but definitely seems like it could struggle with Ferrothorn. Then we have another one of these, what's it called, Zacian Groudon teams. We actually haven't been seeing that much Zacian Groudon for the most part, but I feel like it's actually, like, really good. I feel like it has a lot of potential. Then we saw one, what's it called? We saw one Kyurem, I think, in the entire cut, which is, like, kind of weird. Then one Yveltal. Unfortunately, the other one being me was wiped out. And then, you know, we have Solgaleo and Kyogre. This one is actually a really interesting combination that I've seen a couple of times. I haven't seen it pop up as much, but I really think this is honestly one of the strongest compositions. I also think that AV Solgaleo was actually really good for him this tournament. I watched his games. Also, too, this is the only team where I will say that I think Calm Mind Ogre is actually kind of decent, because being able to Steel Spike and like Calm Mind or like Max Quake and Calm Mind is like really busted, right? Like, you're able to pretty much go and consistently stack on your Kyogre. They can't really do too much. You're getting constant leftovers recovery. You have double Intimidate and screens. Like, it's just a really cool idea in general. So now that we've kind of seen all the teams, I'm going to take my top 5 teams from it, the teams that I think are the best and the ones that I would recommend you guys to try out. Obviously, I'm going to be a little biased towards my own team, so I'm going to list that one. I'm going to scroll through until I find the next one. I like definitely try out Paul's. Let me try and find Paul's team. There we go. Paul's. I think Paul's is really cool. It's kind of the best example of like Zacian offense. We continue to scroll through. I want to see this before I pick whether or not I think his team is going to be solid. Choice Scarf Kyogre. I'm going to say a maybe on that. That one I'm not going to put in the top 5, though. Just silly scroll through. I actually really like Juan's team. I think that... I don't know about Yawn Protect. I kind of like Recover a bit better, but I do think that like this kind of archetype's actually really interesting, and I'd be really interested to like explore this more. I feel like it's one of the cooler versions of the team. Continuing to scroll down. Definitely this team. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a team report of it coming out on like Audie's channel soon, because what's it called? I had talked to like North or someone about it. So definitely make sure to keep an eye out for that specifically. That should be cool too, but also too, if you guys want the open sheet, this is the open sheet. I would recommend trying out this team. I think this team's actually really cool. It kind of implements a lot of cool concepts. Scrolling down, what else do I think is cool from the group? Looking for like, I actually really like this team as well. This team got top 8. It ended up wiping a bunch of people out. Not all of it is perfect, but I feel like the general idea of Rotom Heat with Zacian Groudon is actually really cool, because it gives you Charizard answer along with Regieleki. And also, too, Will-O-Wisp on Rotom Heat's kind of cool because it lets you, like, ruin Groudons. And also having a Weakness Policy Venusaur works really nicely with, like, the combination of Will-O-Wisp and then, like, Intimidate from the Incin. And then you also have, like, you know, the Weakness Policy. If they, like, target into your Venusaur, you can punish it and just max. So I just think the whole concept as a whole is just like a really well-designed team. So yeah, we're going to kind of go over all these. So like the nice thing with this team particularly was the ability to spread status. Will-O-Wisp actually really punishes Zacian and Groudons pretty comfortably with this team, which is very important considering like the composition. Also, Charizard gives you a really strong nuke option to kind of destroy the other team. Here, I just think this team was a very standard team overall. For the most part, I maybe would consider Nasty Plot over Helping Hand on this team, to be honest, because I feel like Nasty Plot could actually do a lot of work. Helping Hand's like kind of cute, but I don't think it's really necessary. I would definitely like 3 attack station on this team, but it's definitely like up to you. Also, too, on these Gastrodons, I'd consider Recover, but for the most part, like I really like these compositions as a whole, right? Like they definitely have like a cool idea in hand. Paul's, I think, was the most optimized out of all the ones I saw. Like, I definitely agreed with, like, every single team choice he had. Like, I think all of these moves make sense. I think all the sets make sense. And I think, like, this team out of all of them was, like, one of the coolest of the tournament for me. And obviously, like, some of the sickest ones to see. Oh, also, I should put Jesus Pace up here, I guess, because he literally won. Where is he? Jesus. There we go. But yeah, no, Jesus' team was, like, super sick. It was, like, definitely a really sick team. I would maybe consider, like, Citrus on here, or, like, Goggles, because, like, he does seem a bit weak to opposing sleep, but he does have, like, he does have some ways to stop it, right? Like, he can swap in his own Amoonguss to kind of take it, but, and you have, like, Substitute, but still, like, you could struggle a little bit. Also, too, I feel like this team would have struggled versus Ferrothorn if Paul brought it. So I'm kind of interested to see if like maybe this team would have an adaptation or adaptation to like maybe beat opposing Ferrothorns, because I could see that being kind of problematic. But yeah, for the most part, these are teams I thought were cool. I'll have them linked down below as well, so you guys can actually like just kind of see their open pace. I'll also have you linked to this. Actually, I'll just link you guys straight to this resource. And then what's it called? I'll also have the Twitter for the VGC pace stuff linked. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoy. Oh, also make sure to check out Victory Road. They literally host it, and all the stream games are up there. But yeah, make sure to check that out as well. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for all the support, as always. I incredibly appreciate it. Thank you to Victory Road, too, I mean, for hosting an awesome event. Like, this is really sick and, like, a lot of good information, right? So, this is definitely really cool to see. But, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the videos. If you guys would like to improve your skills and work on that, make sure to check out coaching, which you can see down below, and also to make sure to check out the Patreon if you guys would like to support me on YouTube. But once again, guys, thank you so much for all the support. I incredibly appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.